This is part 3 of the lesson The Living World, chapter 2 of Standard 6. So come along, let's understand it.
Hey, this video was made just for you. Do remember to like, share, and subscribe.
Now, let's understand this. We all know that living things produce other living things like themselves, similar to themselves. So, some animals give birth to their young ones. So, we know that most of the animals, that is mammals, give birth to the young ones just like them. So, directly they give birth to a young one. Whereas some animals, that is, most of the birds and reptiles, lay eggs. The young ones hatch out of these eggs. They don't lay direct young ones. They lay eggs, and after the incubation period, that is, after some days are over, so these young ones will hatch out of the eggs. Now, we have seen that new plants are produced from the seeds, and we also know that new plants are also produced from stems. That is, if you have planted a rose plant doesn't have seeds. So you have to put a stem in the soil, and that stem will soon grow. Like that, there are many plants which grow from their stems. In the same way, there are many plants which give out small plants, that is, baby plants, from the leaves. One of them is the bryophyllum. Okay, so from the leaves, you will find that small baby plants growing, as you can see in the picture to your right. So, small baby plants growing, and these baby plants will grow into a big, full adult plant. So, the process by which a living thing generates a new living thing like itself is called reproduction or procreation. That is, you have produced another thing just like you. So, this happens with all living things, whether animals, plants, reptiles, fishes. So, to produce another another thing of the same kind is called reproduction or procreation. Therefore, reproduction is another of the characteristics of living things. So, only living things reproduce or procreate. Think about this. Why have so many types of plants and animals been able to survive on the earth even today? After so many millions of years, the earth has been. So, why have so many plants and animals still been able to survive, to live, to procreate, to reproduce? Why are there so many plants and animals? Now, to check your answers, please visit our website at jkacademypro.com. Now, let's learn about the lifespan. A definite lifespan. Now, what do you mean by a definite? Because it is definite in numbers, it can't go more than that. So, lifespan means the number of years a living thing lives, that is, from birth to death. So, each living thing has a particular lifespan, that is, the number of years that a living thing will live. So, if you look at the picture, you find that this is the different stages of a human being, from baby to a small boy, then a young boy, and then we find him as a teenager. Then we have the young adult, the middle aged man, and then the old man, and soon that old man will also die. But in all these stages, we find that his reproduction age is at when he is a young adult, and after that all his organs will become weak, and then eventually a person will die, and all living things will die. That is, whether they are plants, whether they are animals, human beings, reptiles, fishes, birds, microorganisms. So we have seen that, we know that all living things will die. So the stage or the number of years that a living thing lives from birth to its death is called the lifespan. And lifespan of different organisms are different. Some live only for a few hours, some live for many, many years. Now, the lifespan of different animals and plants are different. For example, the lifespan of a dog is about 12 to 18 years, while the ostrich lives for 50 years. Do you know the lifespan of the giant turtle found on the Galapagos Island in South America is about 170 years?
On the other hand, the lifespan of the mayfly ranges from 1 hour to 24 hours.
Look at the two pictures given to you. Observe them carefully. One is a picture of the honeycomb and the other is a wall. Now, what are they made up of? The wall is made up of bricks and the honeycomb is made up of tiny compartments. Now, these small compartments are joined together to form the honeycomb, and a wall is made up of bricks, and these bricks are joined together to form the wall. So, these are the similarities that we find in both the wall and the honeycomb. So, how is it related to the characteristics? We'll just find out. Just like the brick wall and the honeycomb, all living things are made up of small units called cells. So these cells are joined together to form tissues, and later on, these tissues form the organs of our body, and our whole body or the body of a particular living thing is made up of. So these tiny cells are joined together, and all the actions and processes in the bodies of living things are brought about with the help of these microscopic cells. These are very tiny cells. So all the action, all the things that happens in our bodies, that is in human beings, it is we eat food, the food is digested, we breathe. So there are various organs, various muscles, various tissues of our body, all are made up of cells, and that is how our body is able to function very well. Some living things are made up of a single cell. So these are called unicellular organisms. All the action happens in this one cell. The examples for unicellular organisms are amoeba and paramecium. So they are just a single cell living thing. So that is why they are called unicellular. Uni means one and cellular means cell. On the other hand, the living things that are made of many cells are called multicellular. Multi means many. Cellular means cell. So many cells. So these are called multicellular organisms, and they are made up of many cells. For example, man, cow, mouse, cockroach, elephant, banyan tree, the onion plant, etc. are all multicellular organisms. That is, not only plants but also animals are multicellular animals. All the characteristics of living things are seen in every cell of a living thing, whether it is unicellular or multicellular. So therefore, whether it is one cell or many cells, and in each of the cells, all these characteristics of the living things will be present. That is, we learnt about the various characteristics. That is, they will grow, they will respond to stimuli, they will die, they will procreate. So all the characteristics that we learnt are seen not only in the single cell but each and every cell of a living thing. Institutes and work. There are two main institutes in India that work for the conservation of various plants and animals by conducting surveys. So, what are surveys is they conduct a study, they will collect samples of various plants and animals, and they will do a lot of research work on it. They will find out what are the differences, what are the similarities, what changes have they gone through over the years. So these two main institutes are Botanical Survey of India, which was established in 1890, and the Zoological Survey of India, which was established in 1916. Now, you as a citizen also should be very, very alert. And in case you come across any unfamiliar plant or animal, that is something which is new, very unique, any plant or any animal, it could be a small insect, it could be a bird, it could be any plant. So in your surroundings, you can communicate with these institutes. Communicate means you can inform these institutes about this new plant or animal, and and ask them to obtain more information about it. Do solve the textual exercise. And to check the answers for the textual exercise and for more free worksheets, please visit our website at www.jkacademypro.com. End of part 3. For a complete lesson, do watch all the parts.